Yup.
Oh,
hello.
God.
Welcome to Nerd On Update, where we talk about the things that we love in the nerdy news and then also answer questions from you.
Strong start.
We don't introduce the host, right? Caitlin or Josh?
Nope.
So we're going to go
Thanks,
ahead and
Tom.
go first. And I'm going to do the news first. None of y'all could come get me. None of y'all could do that move where you were like,
next week we're in studio, so we
Tom's.
can come at you.
It's true, but not yet.
Almost. So today I want to start out the news. It's me. It's your boy with the Wonder Woman DC boy shirt. Oh man, my DC fandom hat's right behind me. Anyways, some interesting things happened this week.
Yeah.
I made a funny. To me, it was funny. It was about how like, oh man, a new thing on the internet came out, and I get to talk about that and the update, and I don't have to talk about DC stuff. And then here we go. Army of the Dead Q&A. Zack Snyder posts or shows a picture of Wayne T. Carr as the Green Lantern, and because someone asked it during the Q&A, they're like, "Hey, do you have like a snippet or something like that?" And he's just like, "I don't have a snippet, but I have a picture on my phone," and he just shows it, and of course the internet blows up, and they're just like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And I think it's quite interesting, again, like to see those kind of things. And I kind of just want to harken back to Ryan Reynolds and how he leaked the Deadpool stuff. And, I think some people might say like it's a different thing, but to me, it's kind of like in the same spirit of like people want to see some of the stuff. And also he's just asking or he's answering questions from the audience. So, his film comes out and people still talk about Restore the Snyderverse and all that stuff. And he had recent like interviews because every film you get a PR junket, they did one for Army of the Dead, and then particular interviews will blow up because of what things are said. And he's talked about how in Justice League 2 you would have gotten the female Furies landing on Earth and then fighting. They would land in Themyscira. And then they would have an all-out war with the Amazons, and everyone was just like, "We could have it." But he's been pretty vocal in saying like Warner Brothers has not reached out, and they seem clearly not interested in what he has to offer. So it's pretty much to that point. Everyone, again, keep it positive. Don't harass and all that stuff. And it's shitty that I have to say those things, but like I know it feels
It's a thing.
like. Yeah, it feels like you're not being heard, and the things that you want aren't coming out, and the things that you don't are being force fed to you. But just be vocal and talk a lot about the things that you want. But again, it's all about respect. And there are some reports. Again, it's just working hard to make sure that if you want to see more of this, then you got to put your money where your mouth is and vote with your dollars. But because HBO Max has not released the numbers, so we don't know if it's a success, because it would kind of be an all but like certainty that like there would be continuation, whether it's on HBO Max or on the large screen, but some kind of continuation. But Samba TV actually, and I believe Migu are like the big like guys. This has been a success because they're the only ones that's been talking about the numbers, and it seems that a lot of streamers are no longer reporting the numbers because they don't sound good, regardless, because if we're in a pandemic still, and theatrical releases are kind of weird. But the most recent report was from Samba TV from a number of UK households who watched the HBO Max day and date films when they came out, and at the bottom with 61,000 downloads was Mortal Kombat. And then after that was Wonder Woman 1984 at 203,000, and then Godzilla versus King Kong at 225,000. And this is during their initial release, and this is on VOD and on HBO Max. And then Zack Snyder's Justice League had 751,000. So it was, imagine all of the three other films before it combined.
Wow.
And then even some. So like a lot of people are kind of holding on to that as like proof of like it was successful, even though every like major outlet that doesn't have any numbers are saying it's not. So it's an interesting place. It's an interesting place. Because I want to round this all out and say one quick thing, because that's all the DC boy stuff. The thing I was actually going to do as my news was that the Green Knight trailer came out, and that looks baller as shit.
It looks real good.
And I'm just glad, to me, I was like, I don't have to talk about a superhero. I could talk about another movie. And then all of a sudden, Green Lantern. I'm like, I got to talk about it. So I'm done with that. Who's next?
Josh.
Me. Me.
It's him.
So this past week, PlayStation, Sony, they announced that they will have 2 new colors for the PS5 controller coming out in June. They're ready for pre-order now. I haven't gotten mine. I just can't.
What are the colors?
They are Cosmic Red and Midnight Black, and they look sexy AF. I am not a big fan of the white. Ask these guys. My life uniform is essentially a black shirt.
Yeah.
Nothing else. I don't wear pants.
He's an anime character.
Yeah. I just wear a black shirt and some
No
jeans or no pants. Sometimes pants.
I mean, as someone like me who's much, I don't think you have a console allegiance. You've gone both between Xbox and PlayStation. You had Switch.
I have.
I've never had an Xbox. I'm kind of liking the white, and I probably would go with the white and the red.
I changed my plates on my PS5. I changed the plates. I went to I found a company that
you voided your warranty.
Yeah, I avoided my. No, they're so easy to slip off that I could easily put them back on.
Are we still talking about the console? I'm sorry.
Wait. No, we're talking about my pants.
No.
But yeah, it looks dope black. I'll just tell you that. It looks real good. And so those controllers, they look real nice. I'm not usually a red controller guy, but that Cosmic Red looks real nice.
It's a deeper red. It's a brighter red.
Yeah, it's almost like, I'm looking at it now, it's almost like a maroon-ish.
It's almost like a monsterish red. Like if you got a red T-Rex, that's what it would look like.
And then and then you put like the black accents that they have and the blue lights. You wouldn't it just
works.
It just works. It's sexy.
It just works.
And it is sexy.
If I can find a PS5, I'd get it.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah. Caitlin.
So for me, we knew that E3 was going to be virtual this year, but we didn't exactly know, it's going to be virtual this year.
I thought it was canceled.
So for those of you, the information wasn't
our next segment, News to Tom.
News to Tom. So yes, E3 is going to be virtual this year, but they hadn't really talked about how they were going to do it until this past week. So they're going to be streaming for all 4 days straight. And it's going to be absolutely free. There's no paywalls whatsoever. Everyone can tune in. The only difference being that they're going to have media days. I think there's the week before the event. They're going to do some media, a meet and greet kind of thing. So, E3 proper originally, 2017 is the first year that they started opening it to the public, and they were $250 tickets for public to come in. And before that, it was all just business to business journalists. So that's companies getting a chance to all be in the same place, go to each other's booths, talk about their business stuff, and then the journalists would go around taking pictures and interviewing people. Hey, what are you working on? Blah, blah, blah. And then the public came in, and now we can't have any of that. You can't have any of those statues of characters from the games. You can't have the cosplayers walking around. You can't have the booth with swag, which was super cool and super fun and very interactive. So it's sad that we're not getting that back. But at the same time, it's still nice to get some kind of normalcy that we're at least getting the event in some capacity. So what's going to happen is the exhibitors are going to have their own kind of their own digital booths in a way. From what I was reading around, there's going to be games to learn about the games that are on there.
Am I playing a menu?
Kind of. From what I'm reading, you can create your own avatar for the event. And then you can go to different booths and stuff and get little achievements. So it's like made into this interactive event. So it feels like the fun that you would have had if you were at the
trying.
show. So they're doing their best. We'll see how it actually pans out. Registration is currently open on the E3 website. There's already been, some companies that have had their departure. I think Sony was the one that wasn't there last year. And they are going to do their own thing again. I think Nintendo is doing a presentation. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle a totally virtual event with constant streaming from many, many, many different people who are all trying to get everyone to pay attention to their thing. So it's going to be a fustercluck, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm interested to see, just because I know that, like, we've talked about in the years past, like even last year when it was canceled, that another big thing for E3 is that how a lot of independent game companies meet with the bigger publishers, and so it takes away that avenue for them. So I hope that I hope that somewhere in the chaos of all of this, there is something that is because we've met some really amazing independent companies that have made some really great games that I hope everything's okay.
Yeah. Earth Knight, I remember that hand-drawn game that was beautiful.
I have it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you don't get the same magic of stumbling around a show floor and being like, "Whoa, what is this little beautiful nugget? What are you?" But
or
hopefully,
testing games that never come out.
That too. But yeah, we'll see how it all comes together, and hopefully there will be some of the magic still held within this virtual event. But time will tell. Only a couple weeks away from that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next part of our show, in which we answer questions from you, the people. And the way that you can submit these questions, we have a lot of ways, but you can send an email to questions@nerdon.tv. You can also go to nerdon.tv/questions. You can also join our Discord, nerdon.tv/Discord. And there are channels in there. And if you are a member of the Nerd On Nation, nerdon.tv/Patreon, you do get what we call a Nerd On Nudge, in which we answer your questions first. You can ask questions like, Spencer asks, if you could use the Matrix learning technology to learn one thing, what would it be?
Japanese.
Okay. Japanese what?
Japanese, the language.
Okay.
All of it.
For sure.
Every single kanji. Every single iteration, like with Keigo, the like super formal, and the casual and the regional dialects, that's the one thing I would work on. I'm so fascinated by all of it. And it just takes so much time. Like my sister is basically fluent, and I'm like a 3-year-old being like, I know how I can ask to go to the bathroom.
Josh and I don't exist.
Yeah. Bonnie, Bonnie has been taking French class since basically the beginning of the quarantine. There's a language.
Parlez-vous français?
I don't. There's a language class language school in Pasadena, and she's been taking classes, and now she's getting into advanced. I'm like, are you fluent yet? She's like, no. French is very confusing.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
For me, what would it be? Tom, you go if you got yours.
Everything about economics and the stock market.
That's a really good one, actually.
The reason why I say that, because like I think to me languages, I am also fascinated by languages, but those aren't things that are like out of my way that I would not probably learn about them in life. Where like economics, business, and financing, and specifically the stock market is like, I literally have to sit down and just do this. There's nothing in my career path that would probably be like, maybe you should know how to manipulate the stock market. Like, unless I just made a movie about like The Big Short, like then I would have to do that. But those aren't the movies I want to make. But also, I just want to get so rich that like I don't have to make movies. I get to make movies because I'm just so rich. I don't need to. I want like Amazon. I just want to be Amazon. You know what I mean? Like I'm so rich.
Tom wants to be Amazon.
But have the power. But I would be, everyone, please. We have like 40 bathrooms. Take a 20-minute break. None of this garbage about you living in a car. That's stupid, and I hate it. Josh?
That's stupid, and I hate it. Putting some thought into it, I think a skill that I've been thinking about recently that I just really wish that I had was like construction. Like being able to like, there's some changes that we would love to make to our house. We have a pretty small house, and there are times that I'm like, I'm pretty good at building things, but like an actual like parts of a house, like with foundation and stuff like that. It'd be that, or music, like that'd be another thing that I'd be like, just all of it in here.
All the music, all inside my body.
All the music, like guitar, just.
This is a genie breaking question, because technically the right answer would be to make more matrix learning technologies.
Oh.
Well, aren't you technically not limited? So you could be basically like,
well, so that's why I said just
first
I'm
going to do this, and then I'm going to do this.
Yeah, but then like if you could learn one, so as if you'll never have the option again. It's like, all right, let me learn how to make this so I can make it again.
Mm-hmm.
That's the genie breaking question. But
yeah.
Next?
Yeah, next question comes from Noe. What food pairings are heavenly to you? In other words, what food items go together for you like PB&J, excluding PB&J, of course?
I'm already salivating.
Contain yourself, Caitlin. She just needs a bowl like... Caitlin's probably going to be tea and honey.
You're so cute. It's lobster with melted butter and lemon. Nice try, though.
Isn't the lobster just like a thing to get the butter in your mouth? Like it's not even really...
No,
it's getting the proper ratio of butter and lemon and then dipping the lobster in it so that not all of it is submerged, but like mostly covered and like dripping a little bit. That's what
I dunk that boy. The whole thing gets submerged.
It's not even lobster anymore. It's just like butter.
Yeah, lots of butter. You go.
For me,
we could do this all day. Let's just say this.
It'd be a lot.
The best things together would probably be
brie and fruit.
Oh,
that's real good.
Roasted duck skin and a bao.
Oh, yeah.
Peking duck.
Pretty good. It
is S God tier, triple S tier good food.
Never had that.
Yeah.
So you guys are gonna have to open up my world.
Oh, we're gonna crack it wide open.
Josh, I'm gonna open you up and be in your world.
Hell yeah.
Take a turn.
Man, for me, like chips and guacamole.
Oh,
but like none of this bullshit guacamole that you get where it's just like crushed up avocado, but like real guacamole that has like things in it and it's spicy. Mm-hmm. It's just like, oh. That could be a meal, right? Like chips and guacamole, chips and salsa. Like that's a meal, right?
It's like sure.
It's sold as an appetizer, but
to me that sounds like that's like a vegan that doesn't want to be vegan. Like it's healthy, but like that's not too healthy.
That's ooh. You got your healthy fats with your guacamole.
Oh my God.
No, Dragon, you're a heavenly pairing in the chat. It called us a heavenly pairing, which is nice.
Aww. Oh yeah, that's another way that you can submit questions, everybody listening. If you go to our live stream on Sundays at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, nerdon.tv/Twitch. Next question.
Yeah.
Comes from Zell. When doing a barbecue, what all do you make for such an event?
Ribs, corn, coleslaw, baked beans.
Oh, like the whole thing? Not like, hey, I'm bringing an item, but like...
You got us on a food rant? You're just going to get a list now.
That's the thing. We've done a few like food episodes. Like if you're a member of the Nerd On Nation, we do these bonus episodes. And sometimes we've done food ones. And, It's bad. It's bad.
So I mean,
Okay, is this what are we bringing to the barbecue?
Pick one from the list. Yeah, what do you bring?
If okay, so let's make the assumption that the meat is already there. The meat is already being prepared. That's the barbecue. The meat's got to be there. So this is your side dish, right?
I guess. I don't know what list the people in chat are talking about or the list you're talking about. I don't know if they're I'm sorry. Maybe my history's bad, but I don't remember studying a list that was like, this is the barbecue list.
Here is your proper barbecue etiquette.
You calm down. I'm just saying what I would bring.
No, that's what I'm saying. Just say what you want to bring. Two things. You bring a main or bring a side.
My main would be ribs. I have in the past baked a whole rack of ribs, or broiled rather.
Wet sauce, dry rub. What's the style?
I do a dry rub so that it's crusted. And then for the last 15 minutes, I turn on the broil. I'll leave it in there for a long time to get the dry rub on.
Is this oven?
Yeah, this is oven. As I don't use my grill for whatever reason. So I will slow cook at a lower temperature, get the crusty, crispy dry rub on the outside, and then the last 15 minutes I'll put it on a broil, put all the sauce on, and have it caramelize underneath.
I hate it when we talk about food.
I know, I'm sorry, but
so
I'm also
what's your
not.
side? What's your side?
I would probably bring coleslaw. I really enjoy coleslaw with char meat with barbecue on it.
What color onion? White onion, red onion?
It would be the variety of cabbages and carrots, and I think I would probably do a white onion just so you don't get the ping of the red onion so much.
It doesn't bleed out.
Yeah. But I would still have the purple cabbage in there just for the fanciness of it.
Josh, you or me?
You. I'm thinking of my main.
Okay, so most of you on
you bringing
on
fried
watching
chicken, Tom?
and
Are you
listening,
bringing fried chicken?
episode later.
Most of you watching and listening have not come to a party where I'm there. I always bring fried chicken
every single time. You think he's saying this to be cute? No, he brings fried chicken every time.
And
every time.
This is the reason why I love all the parties and events I've been invited to. They're nice. They're quaint. They provide such a spread. But I always feel like I'm eating snacks.
Yeah.
I want to eat sustenance. I typically have skipped a meal to go to your event. I typically just got cleaned up, made sure I look all good, pumped the iron a little bit. So I'm like, okay, I'm a little sexy. And then I had to go bring something, probably like a beverage. And then you guys just give me chips and popcorn. I'm like, what is this? Is this for children? What is this? I have nothing with the spoon.
Oh my
See,
God.
here's the thing. I don't understand that. Anytime I go to a party, in my mentality, I'm like, I'm going there. There's going to be food, not snacks.
Yes.
Yeah.
To me, I see four
I'm used to
versions.
potluck kind of style kind of thing.
I see several versions of Doritos before I see here's a Slim Jim. I'm like, give me the Slim Jim, dude. I need the carb and the calorie. So for me, it's a fried chicken, and if I gotta bring it there, and I'll do the pickle brine chicken, where you let it brine in a pickle, whatever water for 6 to 24 hours, and then you let it marinate in buttermilk for 12 to 24 hours, and then you don't even have to bread it. You could just put it in there because it's all fluffy, it's all absorbed, it's all creamy, and you're gonna taste a little bit of pickle every bite. So it's a little bit of juice, even in the white meat, which people who like it can like it, but it's always a little dry. But if you do it the right way, you prepare it, and then you hit it with the salt and the paprika at the end after you take it out, that's the way to go. My side is going to be at a barbecue. I like myself some mashed potatoes. If I can't do mashed potatoes, then I'm going to do macaroni salad.
All right. Good option. Good option.
Just when we talk about food, man.
I don't.
Because it's never just oh yeah, this. It's and then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to caramelize it, and then I'm going to spice it with this. It's never simple. It's just it makes you
We're all foodies. Every single one of the hosts on this show, and Julie, our editor. Foodie, all of us foodies. You should see the cheesecake she makes. Anyway, sorry, Josh. Go ahead.
Cheesecake?
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Because I'm also on a diet. I've lost almost 10 pounds in the past few weeks. I'm pretty happy about it. I know for my side is death cheese. I'm bringing death cheese.
Oh my God. Death cheese, y'all.
Death cheese. It's good. And
good.
Corey proved that it can be put on anything.
It's true.
He put it on
You could
some
dip
hot
a
dogs.
pizza in there.
You can dip a pizza. It can be put on anything.
I will totally dip a pizza in there. Gotta go hard.
Our nerd on parties that we've had where we're like, guys, we are making it so we don't have anything to do, but we're gonna eat.
We're just gonna veg out, watch some anime.
When we did Game of Thrones,
oh my God.
I gotta find that video. That was ridiculous. The spread. Whew.
And for
What's
my
your main?
main, I think that I don't know. I don't normally bring mains. I'd probably just be basic AF and bring good hot dogs or like sausages that are
staple. Yeah, a staple.
like a staple kind of thing. And I'll bring the buns. I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
And hopefully the amount of buns that you need for the amount of meat that you make, so it's not like an 8-pack of hot dogs and 6 buns. You're like, why?
I don't get that. It's what's
It's
wrong
so
with
we
this
spend
world.
money and just eventually just buy so many brats. Yes, brats. Oh,
The one that get big when it get hot, because
yeah.
That's George Lopez. Sorry.
Yeah. So Tom, you
Yes.
the next part of the questions is from the chat. So I give control to you.
Thank
And
you. I am now the
Don't
host.
regret it.
Look at me. I am the host now. So we're gonna answer a question. This is a question we've answered before, but I want to make sure we answer as many questions as we can. If we get them, you deserve to listen to, and we can answer the question for you. This question comes from Avatar Tyke. What would your signature fatality be if you were a character in Mortal Kombat?
Holy
Oh my God.
Right?
sweet.
Tom, give us some
Sweet
examples. Because I'm only remembering 2.
Uppercutting somebody, but when you uppercut them, it tears their spine from their body. And
Okay.
then
You're probably a scorpion. You shoot your.
and then you grab the spine and hit their body out of the arena.
Yeah.
And then you stand there and yeah.
I think
I'm gonna take that. That's mine.
Okay. There's ones like Goro where he grabs you with his forearms and pulls each limb off and then just beats you with each limb and then you're a bloody pulp. Or, there's probably one I think with Mylena where she rips you apart and eats your face off or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Like you
me,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, and this is contingent. If I was a Mortal Kombat character, I'd want to be like Cabal with some super speed.
Yeah.
So for me, I would be. Y'all gonna learn something about me. I would probably get
You're violent.
little wood chips, stick them in your fingernails,
Oh God.
and then hammer them all the way. But then go I'm doing it at super speed, so I'm all around the body. So pretty much it's
paper
shaved
cuts,
off all of your skin, and it just goes all the way through. And then pretty much the only body that's left behind is a skinless human being. And then walk away, throw the hammer behind me, and it lands in between the eyes.
Oh my God.
That's probably what I would do.
Josh?
I mean, Josh did right.
I already did. mine.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So I would probably, and I'm taking this from a friend who actually did, not the extent of this, but we call it a swan dive, where you literally the person's reeling or whatever, and you walk up and you grab their face and slam it into the ground. So they skull crushing on the ground. And then I would open a black hole underneath them and suck their body through the ground so that you watch them disintegrate into the black hole. That'd be mine.
Hell yeah.
Josh is like, I.
Next question from Dougler93. If you got superpowers, what would they be? Josh has incredible balance and can use a unicycle.
There it is. You got it.
Okay.
That's what I dubbed it as. I'm like, that's a superpower now. The fact that you're I could go on my belly on a unicycle.
I can't. I can still do the belly thing, and I can
That's
go
a
backwards
superpower.
and whatnot. But I can't
That's a
do what I
superpower.
used to do. If you join the Discord, I posted some pictures last week of me unicycling down a mountain and whatnot. But anyway, it is a pretty cool power.
But we have answered this question too, and I don't know if they've changed. But Josh, yours was kind of like you're like Superman-ish, not
Yeah.
all this heat vision and ice breath, but like super strength, super speed, flying, and invulnerability. Caitlin, yours was
Chimera.
shape shifting.
Yeah. You can
So
become anything.
Are these the same?
Yeah, I would say so. If I was
yeah.
to have superpowers, it would probably be shapeshifting.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, mine's the same. Speed, force, speed. Not any other type of speed. Only speed, force, speed. That is the superior speed, super speed.
Actually,
I'm just saying. Okay, next question from Burkhalter B.
Burke.
yeah.
What are your thoughts on this new trend in film where the sound effects and music are super hot while the dialogue is ultra low? This is the question I said last week. Like, Josh, this is a question for you particularly, I think.
Josh is okay.
Dialogue is king.
He loves it.
Dialogue
It's his
is king.
favorite.
That is, if anybody ever asks me for advice when they're mixing a film, dialogue is king. A story, a movie, when you watch it, it's for the story. What drives the story? The dialogue. Oh, no, I hate it. It happens all the time where I'm watching something and you have to do this like fucking roller coaster with your volume because you're watching and it's really hard to hear the dialogue, so you got to bring it up, and then an action sequence happens and
it blows out your speakers.
Yeah, and you're like, fuck, man. I don't. Some people like it because they like. I mix trailers as well, and sometimes people just think like louder is better. Like there was a whole what they called the loudness war, a while back, and basically the industry or the people that kind of, I don't remember the name of the society that runs this, but they were like, no, we can't do that. Because what used to happen is that people would just be like making things as loud as they could. It didn't matter. They were
Shout
just
out
like,
to YouTube.
make it loud, make it loud. And it also started to be a thing with like commercials. Like this used to be a thing that you'd be watching your show and then all of a sudden the commercials would come on and they're super loud. Well, now there is
Come by today.
Yeah, now there is a standard that things cannot be mixed any louder than. And
A standard.
So, yeah, there's a standard. And so it's just I hate it. I think people have this conception that when it's loud, it's better. And I don't think that that's true. And maybe this is my audio schooling coming out. My teachers were like, dialogue is king, no matter what. If you can't hear it, then what's the point?
Yep.
I'm like that actually with music too. Like whenever my EQ is there, I'm like lyric. Put it for the lyric. I want to hear the lyrics. Of course, I'll hear the music. But if I can't understand the lyrics, then don't have the lyrics in there.
One thing I will say is like with U2 specifically, and we're kind of a special case because of me, because I do what I do professionally. I know what things need to be mixed at, and though YouTube there isn't like a vocal standard, there is kind of like a it'd be cool if you did this, but not many people have that sound knowledge. Not many people have that like, hey, this should be at -16 or whatever. Like, so yeah. I kind of have a little bit more understanding with YouTube because most of the time it's people that they don't really know. They're just looking at the meters and the meters are like, they're bouncing and they look cool and they're going into yellow, never let it go into red. Like, hey, cool. This is loud. But louder isn't better. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Yep.
Anyway, I just went on a tirade. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
You have a lot of strong emotions about it.
Yeah, I agree.
For the chat, somebody asked, and I'm just going to answer. I'm an audio engineer professionally. I've worked on trailers for HBO, AMC, FX, Disney. I do that kind of thing.
Lots of different peeps.
Yeah.
Josh
CW.
knows his audio stuff, y'all.
I got expert certification in Pro Tools.
I want next question.
Yeah, let's do it.
How much time we have left, Josh?
Let's see. I would say
Uns more?
let's do two more questions.
Two more.
Okay. So this one is not from before, but it's from today, and this one's from Dragon XO Mega. I want to make sure I answer some questions I haven't seen before. Question: do you think previous generation game revisions, such as i.e. Mass Effect Legendary Edition, should be treated as a new game release?
Short answer, no.
I say they have to be like the caliber of like Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
Like they kind of have to be built from the ground up to be considered new games. Remasters, I think, are fine, and like kind of like with Netflix, with like Breaking Bad or a show that goes on Netflix, it starts becoming big. If the remaster helps the fandom or the franchise grow,
The longevity.
that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. But I wouldn't consider it a new game. Like Cobra Kai is not a new show. It just went on Netflix, and that's when people started watching it.
Right.
So
Well,
same thing with
now there
Avatar.
are new seasons, so
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's newer seasons, but it's still 3 years old.
yeah. No, I'm of the same. I'm of the same mind.
Moint.
If it is like if it Moint, if it were, I don't know, like Final Fantasy VII Remake, it is basically a total rebuild. I don't know. That's just a weird thing. Such a weird thing when they do that.
Well,
Anyway,
I mean, it's keeping the longevity for the entire franchise and like making it so that they have the funding to make more games that's not like pushing an old product. So like I totally understand the mentality behind it. I just don't think it should be pushed as like this is a brand new game because it's already been out. You just fixed a couple of things. It's not,
Yeah.
you know. I think that it's kind of still there's a bunch of back
it's
end
like
stuff. And I could go on
recycling content.
Yeah. It's just, to me, it's like double rewarding the crunch culture that makes it so that there's problems in the game when it launches.
Yeah.
Because then you're like finally giving people the time they need to finish all the stuff. And then you're re-releasing it like, it's a brand new game. It's like, no.
This is the game that should have come
It's the
out.
game that should have come out then, which I totally understand that like business contracts, companies, blah, 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 blah. There are time constraints on everything, but it's just like, yeah, that's my
It's
kind
a
of
sticky issue because there's a lot that goes into it. Like,
yeah. And
Like-
I'm not saying that I'm totally knowledgeable on all that. That's just like my outside looking in my feel for re-releases and pushing them as a brand new thing.
Yeah.
When I know that crunch culture is so pervasive in the game dev industry. So that's my take.
No, yeah, and talking a little bit of what's going on in the chat too. Like a lot of people are saying that spoilers that the ending might be updated for Mass Effect 4 and Mass Effect 4. Yeah, but I think all of us in this room or in this episode right now are kind of saying like, yeah, if it's the same plot and mechanics, then it's kind of just like an update.
Right.
And it's kind of just like it's not
It's
you
free. Well, no, it's
can-
not even free DLC. It's just
Yeah.
DLC that you pay the full game price for.
Yeah, it's not a Zack Snyder's Justice League where it's a completely different film,
Right,
Or
right,
Final
right.
Fantasy VII, which is the correct analog.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway.
It's kind of like the not legendary. It's like the Game of the Year edition of a game where like here comes all the DLCs that you paid for, but now it's all one thing.
yeah. And
but no,
discounted.
Yeah, it's not to disparage a game or anything like that. So got some questions. Got someone from last week. Got someone from today. I think the one I want to answer is the one from today. Because it's part of the E3 stuff. Black Diablo Mamba. Question: Nerd on convention. What's your booth? Who would you be your guest? And what food would you serve? That's 3 questions.
We've talked about this before.
We'll do it quick.
We've talked about this before of what we'd want to have. It'd be like a podcast booth, like almost a recording booth, so to speak. And it would almost be like a rapid fire interview, so to speak. If somebody gave us more time, but if you've ever been to a convention, it's a very quick.
Super
Sometimes
fast.
interviews are like 5 minutes, and it's like cool. But we do like mini episodes with people where it's like getting to talk to them about something that they're nerdy about, which is what we do on our show with our guests. I mean, somebody I would love to talk to is Ashley Birch.
Yeah,
Yes, Caitlin.
I feel like I'd like to talk to Matthew Mercer. Just have a little sit down chat. I've met him in the past. We crossed paths at conventions in the past, but not really like gotten to sit down and talk, you know?
Yeah.
Food, Reese cups. And bring Reese cups.
Reese's cups.
Death cheese.
Reese's. I bring Reese's.
For me, I could probably shoot the shit a lot with Kevin Smith. I think him and I could talk a lot about filmmaking, the fandom world, where that's evolved and grown, his trials and tribulations of navigating those waters, going from like one of the most prestigious directors in the indie world to becoming one of the most hated directors to now becoming like a cult classic icon. That stuff, but also being a fan of things and like how to kind of navigate around toxic fans, even his own. And like
it's
how to
very
just stay
interesting to
positive.
watch him and Mark Bernardin talk. Like, because I don't know why I had this in my brain. For some reason, I thought that Kevin Smith would be very, very critical, but he's often the guy that's like, I liked it. It was fun. And Mark Bernardin's like, that was a POS.
Yeah. Which I mean, like, yeah, Mark kind of has that kind of, I think, go-getter attitude of kind of like trying to see where films can go, where Kevin Smith is like, I'm just, here for the ride. I've kind of had my journey and I want to continue it, but I just kind of love these things. I only want to talk about the things I love. And, that whole philosophy, I think, would be a pretty cool panel, I think. What would the booth be? Yeah, I think it'd be like a kind of nice, giant,
Lounge.
glorified, look like a lounge, like an IGN or a Nerdist kind of thing at a convention to have people be comfortable. I do love how Kevin Smith has the IMDb boat thing, and he's always like next to the yacht.
We're getting a boat, everybody. We're getting a boat.
The food
Boat's
I would
this
have.
big.
I would do little baby Peking ducks on a toothpick. That should be badass.
So extra. You would be
badass.
You would be
and
that
then
extra.
Everyone could have whatever bubbly drink they'd like, whether it's seltzer water or champagne, or if it's
Champagne.
a LaCroix.
It's only champagne if it's from the
bubbly.
champagne version of the place. And anyway,
Yep.
So yeah,
Yep.
Cool.
That's that.
That's that.
yeah, that is that. That is this week's update. Everybody that is watching live on Twitch, thank you so much.
And stick around.
Everybody that stick around. We'll be here after we end the show. Thanks for sending in your questions. We love answering these questions. It doesn't matter how silly they are. We love to answer them. So send them our way. And I mentioned it briefly, but I'm going to mention it here in more detail. Do consider joining the Nerd On Nation. It does help us to grow, to be the best show that we can be.
And we're close to another goal.
We are close to another goal. Once we reach 60 members of the Nerd On Nation, the nation can pick a topic for one of our episodes. So that's pretty cool. It's I've actually been seeing this from multiple content creators recently, just reminding people that the age of advertising is kind of going somewhere else, and creators aren't making their money from that. It's from their audience, the Patreons, the coffees, the what are the other ones? Kickstarter, all of those things. Indiegogo. That's how content creators like us are able to.
It's very direct anymore. It used to be a company would be like, I'll support your thing, but you have to do this thing. And now it's like, why don't we just support directly?
Exactly.
Also with like Geek and Sundry and Tabletop, they had to crowdfund their last like few seasons.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And yes,
that's how important the audience is.
and I see General G saying, listen, like, and review the podcast, especially the review the podcast. Because when you do that, you guys, when you review the podcast, it's like when you show up to the barbecue and you've brought not only ribs, not only fried chicken, but you brought the lobster with the butter and lemon. You went the extra mile to let us know that we are appreciated.
This barbecue is so dope. I want to go.
It's the most bougie barbecue you've ever been to, and that's what it's like to get a review from you all. And I'm going to shout you out on the show, on Nerd on the Podcast, if you leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. So please be sure to do that, and I'll give you a little shouty-outy.
Yep. But yeah, that has been the show. Oh, check out our website, That I always forget that, but it's really important. It has, if you forget anything that we say, just go to nerdon.tv. It has all of the information, all of the outlinks to everything that we do. Check it out, nerdon.tv. But that has been the episode. Thank you so much for listening or watching or whatever. Take care of yourselves. You know the drill. As always, nerd on.
Nerd on.